Do you believe in ghosts? In the return of restless spirits who refuse to be forgotten? Below is a true story, drawn from the records of 1930s Seattle, Washington, but remembered today as something far darker. A story where history and haunting walk side by side. Seattle, Washington, October 15th, 1935. That day, fog rolls in heavy over Rainier Valley, muting the street lamps and swallowing sound. At 2:30 in the morning, two Seattle police officers are dispatched to an old apartment in the 1600 block of Lane Street in Rainier Valley. Neighbors had alerted authorities after hearing screams. When the officers step inside, the apartment feels wrong, silent but charged, like it had just been struck by lightning. They follow their instincts, and there, in the kitchen, they find Bobella Butler. She is 32 years old, beaten, her throat cut. The metallic scent of crimson fluid hangs heavy in the room. People later say the building was never the same after that night. In the adjoining bedroom, the officers discover a man. His name is Barney Fleming, 29 years old, a junk dealer, and unbelievably, he is asleep. They shake him awake. In his initial statement, he claims a masked man broke into his apartment, forced him to drink moonshine, knocked him out, and then killed Bobella. The police don't buy it, but they take him downtown. The next day, Barney cracks. Under the dim light of the interrogation room, he confesses. Bobella wanted to leave him. They fought. For 2 days, they fought. He poisoned her, struck her with a stove shaker, a heavy iron handle, and finally slit her throat with a straight razor. Then, with her body still warm in the next room, he drank a bottle of whiskey and drifted off into sleep. Since Barney was in police custody, his pastor had become his only reliable source from the outside. Night after night, since the day he killed Bobella, the pastor confided to his wife that Barney didn't sleep peacefully. Even in solitary confinement, he claimed he often saw her standing over him, her dress stained, her eyes wide, her mouth trying to scream even though her throat was slit. The trial comes quickly, November 1935. The King County prosecutor, Warren Magnuson, keeps it simple. Barney planned this murder, and for that, he deserves death. The defense scrambles, claiming he's insane, or that the mysterious masked intruder might still be real. But the jury doesn't flinch. In less than 2 days, they find him guilty of first-degree murder. Here's where the story bends into something strange. Most people on death row fight for time, filing appeals, begging governors, praying for any delay. Not Barney. He does the opposite. When the judge sentences him to die, Barney leans forward and asks if the execution could be carried out sooner. King County records say he wanted his pastor present at his execution, and the pastor was leaving for Europe in April. So once again, he asked to move his execution up to an earlier date to fit his pastor's schedule. But locals whispered another reason. They said that from the day of his conviction, Barney couldn't stand to be alone. Guards swore they heard him muttering at night, talking to someone only he could hear. They said he woke up screaming Bobella's name. He didn't want mercy. He wanted escape. March 1936. Barney stands again in court, asking the judge to sign his death warrant earlier, so that before his pastor departed for Europe, he could attend the execution. The judge agrees. His execution date is set for April 3, 1936. As the weeks pass, his defense lawyer submitted petitions to the governor's office, begging for clemency. But nothing changes. The rope is waiting. Barney spends his last days with Reverend Arvid Ornell, the pastor he clung to as his only friend. Witnesses say he looked hollow, worn down, as though he hadn't slept in months. And maybe he hadn't. Because according to some of the guards, Barney whispered that Bobella was still with him, that she visited his cell each night, standing in the corner, silent, bloody, waiting. The night of April 3rd, the gallows are prepared at Washington State Penitentiary in Walla Walla. 75 witnesses gather. Barney, pale and trembling, delivers one last message through Reverend Ornell. Tell the youngsters to avoid drink, women, and jealousy. Odd advice. Unless you think of it not as advice, but a curse. A warning wrung from a man who claimed he'd been haunted by the woman he killed. At 9:59 p.m., the trap is sprung. By 10:14, Barney Fleming is pronounced dead. The official record closes with neat handwriting and dates. Case finished, justice done. But Lane Street kept its secrets. For decades, tenants moved in and out of the rooming apartment where Bobella died. Most knew nothing of its history. But there are stories, whispers of footsteps in the kitchen at night, cold spots near the stairwell, a tenant who claimed she woke one night choking, as if invisible hands were pressed against her throat. And, always, the sound of someone crying, faint, almost carried by the pipes. The apartment building still stands today. Though the interior may have changed a bit, it looks no different than it did 90 years ago. People walk past it every day without knowing. The room where Bobella's life ended might still be rented, walls painted over, floor scrubbed clean. But history doesn't wash away so easily. Some say that when Barney begged to be executed early, he wasn't rushing justice. He was running from Bobella, that the ghost of the woman he killed had followed him into his cell, stood over him every night, whispering, until he realized death was the only way left to escape her ghost. This was episode 13, The Room on Lane Street. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a like and subscribe to help our channel grow. Until next time, stay curious and take care.
On Lane Street, the night was cold. Fog rolled heavy, secrets untold. A woman's cry cut through the gloom, and silence settled in that little room. Oh, the blues don't lie, they haunt your bed. Whispers of the gone, shadows of the dead. Bobella's ghost walks through iron and stone, and Barney's heart beats, but he ain't alone. He said a stranger wore a mask that night, but truth came out in a flickering light. A razor's gleam, a cruel embrace. Now her ghost is staring in his hollow face. Oh, the blues don't lie, they haunt your bed. Whispers of the gone, shadows of the dead. Bobella's ghost walks through iron and stone, and Barney's heart beats, but he ain't alone. Judge laid down the gavel, jury spoke the word, but a darker sentence in the cell was heard. He begged for the rope, begged for the end, running from the ghost that called him friend. The blues don't die, they linger still in the pipes, in the night, in the air they fill. On Lane Street shadows sing her song. Case was finished, but the ghost lives on.